It is 5:04. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's do roll call. Nicholas Craze, we know is not here. Joe Mandala.
Here.
Shane Hirschman.
Here.
Kathy Kohler. We also know she's out for emergency. Joshua's not here. And Amanda Quintanilla. Here. Present. And so we have 5, which is, well, not yet. We won't be able to make any decisions until we have a 5th member. Is that correct?
You're fine.
Okay.
You're fine to continue. My mic doesn't work.
Okay.
Proceed.
Just guide us along.
The one thing we might, oh, there it goes, look at that. We might have an issue with approval of minutes because committee member Quintanilla will abstain. So if you want to not do that one, you can come back to that. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah, let's
If Josh comes. If he doesn't come, we will just table these until the next meeting. Does that work?
That sounds great.
Okay.
Do we have any special presentations?
No.
Do we have any oral communications? We have none. I would like to invite Katie Fox to come up and share with the committee.
Hello, committee. Thanks for allowing me a couple minutes to speak today. My name is Katie Potts, and I'm the president of the San Clemente Historical Society. I have the very great pleasure of addressing your committee about a year and a half ago, and I'm really excited about all the progress you guys have made. I know Amanda here on the end, and we're very excited to see her representing on your committee. And Amanda, you and I have chatted before about the electrical boxes art project, and Shane has been a supporter of the Historical Society. So thank you very much for having me today. On Amanda's recommendation, I thought I would just stop by and reconnect. You've got some new members since I last visited here. And the Historical Society is currently working on 2 initiatives that I thought would be of interest to you. The first one is our Landmarks on Del Mar initiative. This has been going on since 2009. It is a tile mural project, which you're probably all familiar with. We're wrapping up the last of those 14 tile murals. The tile artist is currently painting the picture onto the tiles, and then the city will very kindly do some installation work on that. So we want to celebrate that being completed, and we want to invite you guys to kind of participate with that in some way. So I kind of wanted to maybe collaborate with you guys on some things that we could do. The tile murals are on Del Mar Street, and they're in those rest areas. There's one on the ground, and then there's one on the wall. Most of the 14 murals, maybe minus 3, have a plaque with some information about who has sponsored the mural and information about the artist. So we'll be working on getting the rest of those plaques up as well, and I would love to finish it this year. So that's one project. The second project is historic plaques that act as designations for historic structures, whether it's a home, a commercial building, or another structure of some sort. So the Historical Society, by the time the Olympics gets here in our 100-year anniversary, wants to have our historic structures recognized with this designation plaque. So we worked with the Planning Commission and the Cultural Heritage Design Review Group. We got those plaques approved. We have about maybe 12 to 15 of them now on our structures, and we're currently adding to the list. People are buying them, and the Historical Society's also got some people that have sponsored plaques for other buildings. So we've heard some other plaque programs floating around out there, but this is the one that's kind of so far been approved by the city, and we'd like to kind of keep that same format going. So thank you very much. Am I allowed to schedule a meeting with the team, or how do I do that? Through Amanda via email?
Ready?
Like, you mean for, in particular, that notice about the timing on the landmark opening and the kind of updates about the plaque?
Yeah.
And I'm happy to be a conduit or a liaison. I think what's the appropriate
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to meet with all of them, so
Sure,
if
if
you
you have like a
wanted.
little core group or a subcommittee.
Yeah, let me, hang
So
on.
this might fall under one of the subcommittees.
I was gonna say,
This
this
could
could
art in public
Yeah.
places.
go under, yeah. It could work within there.
Yeah, or exhibits.
Why don't we allow that discussion to occur during that item? And if the committee wants to give direction to that subcommittee, that would be the time to do it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for everything you do.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you, Katie. Do we need- And Debbie, you have that Joshua's here.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, my
Glad to have you.
And just for the record, I want to note that committee member Paskowitz entered the dais at 5:07 PM. And then if you want to go back to them again.
So we'll go back to agenda meeting item number 1, the approval of the minutes from October 27th, which start on like after page 3. If everyone wants to take a minute to just scan those and either make suggestions if there's any corrections, or I would love to have a motion to approve.
I can start a motion to approve. Second.
Great, so we have Shane first and Sherman seconded, all in favor?
And Katie is abstaining.
And, yeah, I'm going to continue abstaining. And then, so that's it for the oral communications, and any old business, Samantha?
No, none.
We'll move on to new business. Agenda item 5A is for the Art on Public Property update. And as you can see here, there's been a report by Samantha Wiley regarding the subcommittee's first draft on that Arts and Public Policy public property policy that Peter Pickle picked.
now we're talking. Now we're collaborating.
This is the first draft that has some proposed updates, in particular to the structure of the way that kind of content is designed. And so we would like to let all of you take time to review it and are looking for feedback for the subcommittee to then take forward in making further iterations and improvements. And that starts on page, I guess it's agenda item 5A, after the minutes from last meeting. The first, just to clarify, there's like a cover page that's the city report, and then there is the subsequent page that says item 5A, attention 1 at the top right. That's the current kind of documentation that exists in the city. It's largely a procedure and application type of a format.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's 4 pages of that, and then there's one that looks like a form. And so those 3 pages are the current city policy. And then there's a page that has the City of San Clemente Public Art Framework proposed. That's item 5A, ATT2. What does that stand for, ATT?
Attachment.
Attachment, of course. Anyway, so the new stuff starts there.
Okay.
And of course, everyone's welcome to take more time to review it, but for the purposes of today, we're looking for kind of directional input and process next steps. Is that accurate, Samantha?
I'm just looking out here down at the number 2, document of public art policy. It says key areas of focus include natural ecosystem, people and culture, and then public art. It describes the Holy Hands vision in keeping with the Spanish village by the sea, surf heritage. That all looks really good to me. I don't know about you guys, but that's like pretty much exactly what I was thinking myself as far as just prioritizing images and iconography that's consistent with what we already have and are already trying to kind of promote or to embrace. But I love how we put value on the people and the culture, because I think that's a big part of it. Like the inherent value of San Clemente and the cultural capital that already exists here within town, and being able to broaden the people's outlook on that. I think this is great, yeah, these,
And so, but, and just to explain, that section is the vision statement that we all designed and approved.
oh,
That-
perfect, no wonder it sounds so smart.
Congratulations.
Genius by the situation going on. But that makes sense.
I'm glad it still resonates.
Yeah, that makes sense, yes.
You did, I mean, part of,
Well, that's kind of what I was alluding to, is the genius portion of it.
Yes,
I'd forgotten.
yes, but part of the idea is, you know, this, like, we're just trying to kind of put it in one place, and like, instead of having, 50 different documents.
Oh, no, I know, that's
streamline
good.
a little bit. That's why
Definitely.
we migrated, that vision statement to
Perfect.
here as one of the, like.
And this is public art policy, so that includes private and city-owned.
It would, so
Is that correct?
there's a definitions section in the new proposal that
Uh-huh.
actually, I can read it out loud.
Yes,
It
please.
suggests defining public art as an original work of art, whether permanent or temporary, that is acceptable to the public and located on city-owned property,
Okay.
within public rights of way, or on private property where public access is provided. And so it's not, certainly not for like all private property, but I can imagine that there might be certain cases where,
Well, no, that pretty much answers my question. In other words, within public rights of way or on private property where public access is provided. So that pretty much,
specific.
yeah, that's specific.
and we didn't have these kinds of definitions before, and so this is trying to just help us get a little clear about, like, what are we talking about?
Yeah, I love it.
And
Sounds
I
great.
like the definitions of donated artwork, permanent public art, temporary public art, so there's different distinctions, yeah.
Yeah, and, ways for us to
Categories.
remember too, that, it might be like an installation that's a part of Dia de los Muertos, but not always there, but it's still something we might,
Correct.
I like that, to Josh's point, I like that there's the guidelines here. I just wouldn't want to kind of pigeonhole someone just for some reason deviates from that. I think there should be some language, like these are just guidelines, we
which we agree.
the vision statements, or we have all the natural ecosystem
Okay.
people, all those different categories. I think that should be definitely the guiding kind of criteria, but, there should be maybe.
That's a really good,
Adding flexibility.
Yeah,
yeah, that's a really good point, Shane, which is how hard and fast are these rules? Are they suggestions? Are these or what's
When
prioritized?
we say key areas of focus.
Yeah, I
so
think-
that's
I think
not-
it's a
that's not an
suggestion.
exclusive
Yeah,
set, it's kind
exactly.
of an emphasis.
But it also, now that I think about it, it does kind of say, it says prioritize, doesn't it? So it would, in other words, the public art that fell into this framework would be more akin to,
which is probably even fair to say, but it's like, I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it's just that last final kind of on poly advances by providing
no, I think
Yeah.
that's smart to kind of leave a caveat out there so that we don't pigeonhole ourselves into something that we don't necessarily, or seem really like.
maybe just like an extra sentence.
Yeah.
We're
Right.
open to we're open
Creativity
to.
is encouraged.
Exactly.
Something like
Sorry.
that is the spirit that it's
Exactly.
talking about.
Yeah, so just know you're gonna get shut down.
I think what the idea is, it gives us something to be like, wait, what did we say we wanted?
Yeah.
Right? And then, you
Exactly.
like a common language, it's not a grading rubric,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like that, right?
Yeah.
Where it's
Mhm.
like, so, and most, I have a hard time thinking about many things that would not fit at all.
Yeah, that's it's very
But,
very
there
true
may
point.
be, there
Yeah.
may be.
Yeah.
I can think of a whole lot of them, probably a dozen or more just right off the top of my head, but I'll keep it to myself.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean like performance art, for instance, could maybe
That's
fall
true.
into that.
Absolutely. You're
It's
But we have performing arts as the last one.
Oh, okay.
World-class visual media performing arts.
Okay, there we go.
And that one's, very, very, very
Yeah.
open.
Okay,
You're
I
looking
totally
at that
missed
final-
that.
final
I
word.
missed that word.
Visual media and performing arts supporting world-class visual media performing arts to increase the frequency and quality.
That one might actually cover.
Right.
That one actually might cover pretty much
Like
everything.
that's a
Yeah.
little bit of a quality bar, right?
Yeah.
Where,
Right.
Yeah.
And then I like this too, number 5, which says that public art should reflect San Clementi's natural setting, historic development, community identity. Priority areas to be considered include Los Molinos and North Beach, downtown Del Mar. And those are kind of zones that we might either have extra or maybe even be more critical. Is that kind of what that means? It almost sounds like it could be either one.
I mean, I think this is something really that the city council and city planning probably would be quite involved in, but many cities, rather than just be like, it's scattershot, there's no, no curation or
Yeah.
no kind of trying to create a cluster or a point of emphasis that actually creates a sense of place or a sense of continuity. You know, like a lot of cities have kind of like, you know, kind of centers of gravity for the way that they
That makes
prioritize
sense.
or try to focus their arts. And even as for our utility box phase one, right, we were like, well, we'll try the Del Mar corridor to launch it because that's the heart
Yeah.
of the thing. And so this, I mean, this is like a proposal, I have no idea.
Well, I think it lines
But
up
it's
with
kind of
just
like
the
just wanted to-
population density.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, those
Correct.
and commercial
An
density.
identity, right,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, but that's good that it could kind of like direct people to different parts of town that would maybe be more amenable to public, you know, it gives people some direction. I think that's good.
So I mean, I have a question for you on things like that. Like, is this something where before we would ever go to city council, I don't know, one of the, like Jonathan Lightfoot would weigh in, or you will say we should suggest focus areas, or we shouldn't. You know, we want to make sure that we're putting forth something that is like, you know,
So,
like visionary, but not so bold that people are, you know, don't like it.
if you want to look at planning's perspective, then planning's guided by the general plan. So we could lean into what the general plan calls out as areas that are important to highlight public art. And I believe that's in the general plan. I was just gonna bring
So
that
maybe I'll
up
just
right
make a
now.
note in this section that we should like
Mhm.
reference, you know, and actually, I mean, a part of, these are areas that were of note, but I'll like to reference specifically the general plan, Amanda.
Yes, I just wanted to add that we have to realize, I'm glad that Director Wiley mentioned the general plan because the North Beach District, it's in the North Beach Historic District, so there's a district there as well as Bozeman Williams District, it's a specific plan, so within the general plan amendment.
So one of the things that could capture the essence of what you're looking for is the idea of gateways. Public art's very important to gateways into the community. That is in the general plan, so that would be an easy default.
Great.
There's a couple areas that I think the subcommittee, if the committee's not ready to say, yes, this is it, and I don't think you will be tonight, this is really kind of workshopping it, the subcommittee could come back and we can kind of dive a little deeper into the general plan and make sure it's included. What I would look for from the entire committee is direction of, does the integration of the general plan go into this number 5 area, public art priorities? Maybe we reference, instead of reinventing the wheel, we reference areas of the general plan. That might be something you want to factor.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then Samantha, sorry, Director Wiley, I have a question regarding the Downtown Del Mar District. Correct, please refresh my memory. The Pure Bold District specific plan, does that go up to that T-zone to Del Mar?
I don't believe it incorporates Del Mar. I think it ends at one of the intersections there. That's the Pure Bold
Oh, what
District.
is it?
But we will look into that too.
And we'll try to use the same language that they
Yeah,
have. They're
consistent
You're
language.
flagging your bold, and that's a specific, different district, you think, Amanda, than
It-
than the Del Mar?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
I would think we would want Pure Bowl also to be on our
Absolutely,
list.
yes.
probably.
I mean, there's also that kind of whole south side of the Olympics thing that's eventually gonna.
Exactly.
But I mean,
Right,
I
absolutely.
think a lot of these plans, there's gonna be a routine thing probably you go through every few years as population demographics change and stuff like that. And, you know, they can be always revisited at that point, but I think having just a few key neighborhoods here is gonna be
Absolutely.
helpful guiding it.
Questions?
I'm not here to hear me. Let's begin.
Take time to take a picture of the other sections and just see if anything jumps out at you. One thing that we did not have at all in the previous city documents was a funding framework. And so number 6 is totally new, but it's not prescriptive at all. It's kind of just putting, Shane and I met with Councilman Wu in the fall. And he was supportive of just something a little more proactive. That was about the extent of it. So it certainly wasn't, you know, choosing which path or what form, but he was open to there being a line in the general budget, that he was open to a few different things. And so I want to try to at least capture that, you know, this is a place where we would try to have there be some sort of dedicated funding.
Yeah.
Definitely, if there's already any kind of will in the city council to participate in or like to you know, boost or approve what we're doing, then yeah, that's kind of our whole gig, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I just was going to ask, it's my understanding that Norm Garrett from the who used to be owner of the San Clemente Times, donated photographs by the late journalist Fred Swagels. Does the city still have access to all those photos that we could be incorporated in like in the North Beach District or other areas?
It's a good question. Miley Stivers would know that. She was more close to that than I was.
Great, thank you.
You can find out.
I just have one, on this section, as far as public art funding may be supported through a combination of, the one thing I don't see on here are local businesses.
Right,
You know.
that wouldn't be public funding, that would be,
But if we were just fundraising,
yeah.
if we did fundraising, would that fall into this category?
We
No,
don't
that's more like
Maybe it
private.
would be a separate, we would maybe have a separate line item for that. It would be,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
number 6, maybe we have a 7. It's like it's a private funding, yeah.
privately
Private
funded.
funding.
Section B.
Yeah, so
Yes.
maybe,
Okay.
I think it's worth kind of separating it out, because
Yeah.
yes, they'll always take, right,
Right.
that's what she's doing, so I'll say like add,
Yeah.
private and donor funded.
Right.
Because I mean, there's probably a lot of times crossover.
Exactly.
So
Something
sometimes
rare.
the private funding sometimes advances a lot quicker than the public. So,
And it's a lot more available to
Yeah.
most people.
And then one of the other points of emphasis that we were supposed to address was maintenance and upkeep. And, that essentially I think the city doesn't want to guarantee like maintaining something in perpetuity forever and ever more, but also the degree of specificity that we need, I don't know if we need to have, it wouldn't be here, but in the next section, Smith, I would look to you and maybe the public works staff or whoever would be in charge of that to understand what degree of, precision do they want.
And going back to donations, I just wanted, I know that the director of the San Clemente Historical Society is here. I just have a question. Is that something that's permissible, Dr. Wiley? Or would
Why don't you ask the committee first?
Okay. I just had a question
Some
regarding, because I
questions.
know that they have photographs that may or may not be, well, you know what?
The city we have an agreement with the Historical
Okay.
Society that allows for the use of their photos.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. That's all.
It's a
that
mutual
question.
agreement.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Wiley.
Amanda,
Yes.
as far as I know, now when you do a permit for a mural, you have to tell them what materials you're using, how you're gonna put it up there, and the whole upkeep thing is really, I didn't really notice that. I didn't see that part of it. So it might be an interesting idea to have a certain, I think now the way it is that you're supposed to reacquire the permit after every year, but I'm not sure how it works.
It's
but
2 years.
Every 2 years?
It's 2 years.
Yeah, but maybe that is a good way of keeping everything fresh, is by
Interesting.
maybe being a little bit more, I wouldn't say, I don't want to say strict, but maybe just a little bit, just have some kind of, back end of that to say, well, this is going to be for 2 years, or then we're going to review, in a certain amount of years, because there's a lot of really old murals out.
And by reacquire the permit, that means that, it's only allowed to really be there for 2 years.
Right.
On the current permit, and so anything
Exactly.
in town, they have to get a.
It should be that way, because now it is that way on the books, but it's not really that way.
No, but it doesn't really go that
It's
way.
not really enforced. So it would be cool to be able to say, hey, you can't just throw up a mural and then leave it up to blanch in the sun for 15 years, and it's going to be, because it doesn't look great, and it could be either renewed or it could be replaced with something that follows more closely along with. But as far as new mural permits, they should have upkeep, schedules in them, the artist or whoever is going to, make sure the mural is is in good order, in 1 year or 2 years, whatever. Because that's kind of a good way of keeping it fresh and not having, an eternal nightmare of like
Yeah.
some mural that is maybe not everyone's favorite mural that just exists.
But things change over time.
And that'd be so much better, right? Because we want to make sure that everything is like the highest quality and.
The only, I guess, counter side to that point is if you get a really legendary artist for some reason that does like a very public piece and.
We don't have any of that.
I know,
And,
I'm just saying, in like LA, there would be some locations.
Miriam coming back.
Yeah, so.
But the reason why I say this is that in Dana Point recently, they just covered over the Kobe Bryant mural, which was a beloved mural in the community, and no tiki, no washi. That was it. That was the end of that thing's lifespan.
Yeah.
And so that might be a good idea there.
Yeah, you're hitting on, well, we did experience this with the Character Counts mural, actually, and you were involved in that, Josh, the second iteration of it, right at North Beach.
Right.
That mural was put up in like 2000, 2001,
Yeah.
and by 2017, the wall was disintegrating. It
Yeah,
just,
it's a
we
mess.
could not save that mural as it was, but it was done by the Rotary Club. So the Rotary, it took a bit of an effort, but the Rotary Club did end up connecting with Josh, and
was a good idea.
they put it together finally. But I think your idea is spot on, because otherwise you start to really lose the essence of the artwork.
Yeah,
over time.
unfortunately, it just, as a person who has murals in town, I would be happy to invest some of my time to know that, my murals were appreciated and fresh and
Yeah.
they were, part of what everyone wanted to see in the city, not just a holdover from some weird, ploy that I pulled off back in the year 06. You know what I'm saying? It seems like that would be a good, and also the whole project of refurbishing that mural at North Beach was a great deal. We got the register, blah blah blah. It was a whole kumbaya thing. So there's no reason why that couldn't exist in other parts of town, like you say, the gateways of town, having those different districts, have some kind of distinction. That's totally rad. That's super cool.
Yeah.
So anyway,
My biggest concern was like having it be non-artist friendly, right? Because we wouldn't want it to be like, oh, San Clemente has more, red tape to the process to have a mural.
Yeah.
So I think like making it so it's, just like smooth enough that it feels, I don't know. So maybe we can workshop the language
Yeah,
with you.
I
Make
think
it so
that-
it feels like about honoring the art and keeping the quality high, not about creating, barriers.
yeah, I think any artist who puts work up in a public space has to understand that there's a service to community function to the work that isn't just about how rad you are and how I can draw a demon or whatever, and nobody wants to see that. You know what I mean? It's like that's not really the overall philosophy of public artwork. It's there to like educate and inspire and like add context and to the community and give people a sense of pride and everything. And so that's I think that's a very important job in the community, and I would like to see it valued in the way that it is being here in this thing. So I'm stoked. Yeah.
That's great. So glad that you've been through the mural application
Yeah.
process. Absolutely. It's like a gem.
Hey, there's one thing I want to touch on this, though, as far as murals, because, I totally get it. I painted those artists. But the one thing I don't see in here, how do we deal with, because it's talk about maintenance, and it's a big responsibility to take care of the mural, keep it up to date, right? What about, can you speak to graffiti? When someone attacks, well, don't say that. I mean, it may not be here today, but maybe here tomorrow.
Right. Well, I mean,
Someone else's.
Yeah, someone else's.
I can tell you as a resident of North Beach that there's a limited amount of graffiti that exists within a certain very small.
But what if it
There
did?
it is.
My question is, what if it did happen? How do we address it? How do we deal with it?
Well, there's anti-foul and there's all kinds of different ways to ensure that a mural is protected from graffiti to a certain extent.
Okay.
With like clear coat and stuff like that, anti-graffiti
Okay.
stuff. But there's also, you can also just pretty much, repair it with the right equipment. But I totally agree with you. That is, you know, making sure things are defaced and all of this stuff is super important, but we just haven't really had the.
Well, a lot of these are going to be geared towards public stuff, as I said. So if someone does graffiti on a private property, it's like unfortunately one of them.
You would probably be like upside down in a sack on your way to the black site before you even got pinned off of your thing and hit the wall.
I would just, like, there's space for it without it being described specifically under number 12, like maintenance and conservation procedures. You know, request that there would be a maintenance and conservation plan submitted before it's accepted, and then that would include like how long we think it should last, the routine maintenance tasks, cyclical maintenance intervals, so that would be, you know, so I think in theory we're asking for that, but I like this idea of maybe we could even have like a sample one that includes, if it's a mural, it should include clean coat and, you know, anti-graffiti.
Yeah, that's a lot of work for a
Anti-graffiti,
mural.
right, just something specific. Because this is kind of conceptual, but it doesn't have the details, but it would be in this section, I think, that we would want to address that.
Are the former policy, or the current policy, I guess, does ask for some specificity in colors and paints and all of that. Because there was that concern of what happens if it's really heavily vandalized. There is a anti-graffiti coat on even the North Beach mural. And in my experience with the public art that's on the pier, the octopus on the door, anytime it needs to be touched up, we call the artist, and she is more than happy to go in and touch up her work.
Absolutely.
You know, I think Josh, you would know that any artist is more than willing to come back and fix something if it
Especially
needs
if
to
you live in
happen.
San Clemente,
Yeah.
it's like returning to the scene of your greatest crime.
Yeah. But I think it's helpful to detail that.
I mean, materials,
Expectation.
as in just overall, I mean, there's also the environmental implications of like what type of paint they use and all that stuff too. I mean, you can
And the
really
way
get,
you apply it.
yeah, so you can really get into the details of that. I think as an overall plan, I mean, I think, yeah. we
How
just-
has the detailing the current policy on that type of stuff worked?
Yeah.
Like, should we just kind of adopt it? Or, you know, are there problems with it, I guess, was the question. Or is it more that,
So I can say with certainty, I don't have the list of paints used on the octopus mural, for example. It would be nice to have it, we don't have it, but even if we did have it, I don't know what we would do with it. Because if for some reason the artist couldn't come back, I don't know that our maintenance staff are talented enough to go in with that level of detail. So I don't know if having that level of detail is
It's necessary,
necessary.
yeah, it's a demand, it's a
Maybe
good
a
point. You said you don't want
commitment.
extra red tape if you don't want it.
Right,
Yeah.
a commitment from the artist that will have open communication through the life of the artwork. And I think what Josh is hitting on is, we don't want art to go on forever necessarily, because it could become stale, it could become really beyond its useful life. And we see that often in public spaces. So, and even with our very simple, our care benches, the benches that get donated, those have a lifespan on them. And at the end of the lifespan, we call the person and say, I just want to let you know you're at 10 years, your bench is essentially expired, it's done. Would you like to replace it, or we'll add it to our care list and somebody else can buy it? So that could be that same kind of customer approach that we have, that we have contact, we know how to communicate with people, and we can just keep in touch with the artists as well.
That sounds like a great idea.
Okay.
it's nice that it works into a work stream in someone's job already. You know, like they would add different calendar dates and contact people. Oh, what a nice person must do that.
I really like all the subliminal like back patting that's going on tonight. I think this is a really good night for that. I really enjoy
You would
that.
be the one to call to say, like, our octopus friend, you know,
Yeah.
tentacle is decaying, we need to replace it.
That's honestly one of my favorite pieces. Is
I love
you
that.
know, I love that art.
Well, the invitation is open for all of you to look at this in more nitty gritty, because we definitely know it needs more refining and work. Is this a good time to make that other proposal about the subject?
Yeah, whatever else you guys want to bring up on this.
So I'd like to make a proposal, and it's based on interest from a member of the public who also applied for the open spot on our committee. And Amanda was selected, who we're delighted to have, but the city council suggested that Julia Darden, who's here with us today, consider serving in a way, supporting one of our subcommittees. not to put you on the spot, Julia, but this is a very funny group, as you can tell. And I have had a chance to work with Julia as a writer years back regarding the earliest years of the Casa Romantica, so I was quite delighted to think that maybe we could involve her. And so I would like to suggest, number one, that we consider having a citizen member on the Arts Policy Subcommittee. And I was wondering if anyone thinks that's a good idea. So
I think it's a
Wonderful.
I think it's a wonderful idea, and Amanda, when I came up and saw Julia, I said, oh, I hope you get be on an ad hoc committee. So, yes, that's
Same
great.
wavelength.
Yes,
Same
exactly, the Amanda thing.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea because because again, this committee is always facing to the public. And it'd be nice to have, someone from the community to work with us.
And I think it's a model that we could have for other
Yeah.
things, right? I mean, we could have
Absolutely.
one for a festival someday or a
Yeah.
concert, and so it's,
Yeah.
I think this isn't like a special case, but it's a great first case for our committee because we're new.
Yeah, and it's nice to offload.
Or collaborative. So if anyone is, since I made the proposal, I don't think I'll make the motion, but to allow citizen membership on the subcommittee, Samantha, is that what we're?
To make a motion?
Yes.
Yes, which subcommittee? It's
Yeah,
the,
it's on the,
The public art.
art on public property.
I'll make a motion to have a.
I can second that motion. Or a motion, that's
I
second.
always say that.
Since we're so swift in making that decision, I would also like to propose as a member of the public, Julia Darden to serve on that subcommittee as a citizen representative.
I second that motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye, aye.
Aye.
We hope you'll take the job. If you change your mind, just let me know.
No, I wouldn't change my mind. I'm very appreciative, thank you.
Oh.
Would you like to step up and say
Yes,
a few words?
absolutely.
We're very friendly. It's
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Some of us are friendly.
If you wouldn't mind, just tell us, like, Julia's a hometown St. Clemente.
Absolutely.
I am, yes. No, I really appreciate the opportunity. For me, part of my interest in this committee was an extension of my earlier work that I did with the Planning Commission. I served on the Planning Commission for 8 years and was the chair for 2, and I was on the design review and the historical review board. And at that time, Planning Commission did a lot of the public art functions, but it was in a very nascent state. So I'm so excited to see the work that you're all doing. And, I would like to stick my toe in that water and, share some of these experiences with you and have the ability to impact art in our community going forward. So I appreciate very much your confidence in me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And I mean,
Welcome aboard.
really, what
Yes.
a blessing to have the experience
Absolutely.
with Planning
Yeah.
Commission, because none of us, know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Experience, please.
Yeah.
The Planning Commission knows policy like, very, very well.
And,
So.
and as a new committee, we're like, there's a lot of cool stuff happening in the next couple of years. We're still kind of getting our bearings
Yeah,
set a little
we're
bit.
trying to
So.
warm up so we're in a
Yeah.
good position for the centennial and all of the things coming forward. That's a lot of everything that's new in the first time. So thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
Maybe we move on from this agenda item with an open invitation to contact me if you have more specific feedback on this draft. And Kathy is on that committee also, as well as Josh. And so I think we can maybe take this conversation with all of us to do a little bit more refining.
100%. I'm like hanging out. So,
Okay.
I'll just put Googles in the back of the car and I'll be, we'll get coffee, talk about this stuff.
That sounds great.
I have a baby that I like to carry around.
It's a good accessory.
He's 1.5 years old. He's really, really cute.
Okay, so then I think we'll move on from new business.
great.
Do we have anything under item number 6, staff communication?
I don't have anything this evening.
Perfect.
Item number 7, we'll go through each of the subcommittees for any updates. So first, the arts exhibit and display committee.
I think no new updates, really, the events have been going on as accordingly. I saw, I don't know if this might fall under actually subcommittee C, the Arts and Public Display, but I saw the lifeguard one, they were on the fundraising stages, I know they just held their events, so that's moving ahead, and nothing to report on this one at least, unless
No.
Samantha, you have anything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, next we have Amphitheater and Performing Arts Facility Committee.
So this one actually I do have a little bit of an update. I came into contact who's been working with you, Samantha, actually on potentially some plans for Richard Sleep Park. So basically there's some redevelopments of this proposal. Nothing's been kind of in the process yet, but that it being a city-owned property, could be some potential plans on that for possibly an amphitheater. So I think, Samantha, you're scheduled to possibly review that in a closed setting, probably in February.
Let's talk afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if our, yeah. Steve Park did have an amphitheater in its original master
Okay, so
plan
maybe it's
several
worth it.
decades ago, but
Okay.
it has since been updated, so if
Okay.
that's a want, that is a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
But
yeah.
they did have an amphitheater in their original design, so that's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty little,
Uh-huh.
and I don't, yeah, it was
Well, yeah.
wonderful.
This is the coldest place in town. I don't know what's.
It's very
why.
cold.
I don't know
It
why
is
it's the
cold.
coldest place in town. I
Wow.
spent a lot of nights there for softball, and literally it's like 20 degrees colder than everywhere else.
Where is
It's a
that?
microclimate.
It's by the Ralph Skate Park and the kind of.
Oh, in
I
Jamaica?
didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, well, that's, yeah, I mean, that's like Guam out there. A whole other country.
But yeah, I mean, aside from that, there's a lot of discussion, a lot of people in the private industries are kind of looking at it as spaces, so it just depends on what kind of, where things go, It's, from a funding perspective, the city it is what it is with that, there's not a whole lot, so. Anyways, I'm open to all kind of ideas as they get presented, so.
Okay.
It's a great idea for the, future San Clemente. It just needs an angel to come down and, flap her wings at the right exact spot, and it'll happen.
Okay.
Okay, so then for subcommittee C, the Art on Public Property Committee, I think you've covered everything unless, Josh, you have anything else to add?
No, I mean, that's, as far as I knew, everything was going great, and we had Rick Delaney, and we were double boxes, and
Claire Fisher, or Claire Miller.
Claire Miller, and it was all good, all great.
So yeah, onto that one, the utility box art program update, just to add a little bit more detail. So yeah, we have the 3 boxes identified for round 1. Very exciting that they've all been funded outside of the city budget. Avila's is financing one of the boxes in front of their restaurant, and the St. Clemente Women's Club is financing the other, as well as the one that's up kind of by that Daisy's like boutique shop and this Schmitz chocolate at the corner of El Camino and Del Mar. And so Claire Fisher's art, or I know someone named Claire Fisher. Claire Miller's art, which is beautiful impressionist sunset type of scene. Design number 1 is what the Women's Club chose from the submissions that she made.
So,
That'll be on that box, and it's nice because it's kind of a standalone. And then Mr. Delente submitted 2 pieces, and they're complementary with each other, and so they'll be on the 2 boxes that are in front of ours.
that'll be awesome, I can't wait for that.
So the main issue now is we're just trying to make sure we have high resolution, enough photography, and all of the specs of the boxes, and kind of the mechanics of getting the imagery
Oh, roger
prepped
that.
and ready for the vinyl, and Nicholas is our kind of lead on that.
That's right, I remember Nicholas was making all those measurements there by hand on the boxes, that was fun. I remember him talking about that.
I do have one update if I can share. I have an artist who is interested in doing the golf course box, which I know was on our original list, and we did not get any submittals that really covered the golf course. So this is a local artist who lives in town, who's born and raised here, and he's going to send me some conceptual designs that I'll share with the subcommittee.
Very cool.
Wonderful. Nice.
Awesome. is that already underway, or would he welcome, like what I was thinking about is either the Fred Swigels Archive or the Historical Society, if they had any like of the vintage early golf years or something, just to send for inspiration, it could be kind of cool to have it be throwback. But-
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Is that, would you like to tell us who the artist is?
Matt Zumberge,
I'm not.
he's he has a studio down in Los Molinos.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, no, I've done some Matt, I've seen his art.
Yeah, he's done actually some murals in Los Molinos.
Oh, really? Cool.
Great. And that's the one that city has funding for, and it's a bigger format, so it would be really great to get that.
Yeah, so the golf course is the golf fund, so we're able to use
Are you
that.
planning to do vinyl for that one too?
I don't think so. We're gonna probably just do
Painting?
good old fashioned paint.
Yeah, I mean, if he knows what he wants to do on it, and that's the way he wants to do it, then there's no reason why he should have
He's a
to.
golfer as well, so that does speak to that.
Oh, that's perfect.
So for a golfer.
And he works out of Los Molinos Arts
Yes.
District as
Yeah,
well.
he's down there.
Oh, okay.
And that
Just
works
did
with-
a mural.
Yeah, right in the back where, so if you go up Los Molinos, where Salon Molinos and what else? It was by You Surf, there's kind of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
businesses. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, did all this stuff there.
Is that the red one? The red?
No, it's like it's on a wall. I think he's
On a
part of.
curved wall?
Yeah, maybe the curve. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I'm gonna keep going, just while
Yeah.
you're chatting, because that way we will do it by the hour.
Yes.
And we can keep the happy conversation going after. So subcommittee E is the Surfer Skater Art Music Hall of Fame proposal that had come in from the community, and I don't know if we've heard anything about
I
that.
haven't heard more, but I think the maintenance was a possible kind of a little bit, possibly the hold up on that a little bit, but I think having a new drafted thing with this, actually some of the language on that might be helpful in order to get that information over to Rick.
So are you guys still working with Rick?
I haven't
Just saw
heard
Rick
more.
like yesterday.
Okay, so what you might want to do is
Yeah.
just go ahead and
Yeah,
table the
Table it,
subcommittee, if you
yeah.
will, and then allow the applicant to come back
okay,
Yeah.
with modifications once he's
Yeah.
ready.
okay.
Do we have to make a motion to table it?
To be
Sure,
Sure.
for the record, that's helpful.
Yeah.
I can make a motion to table the subcommittee for
Second
the
motion.
All in favor?
for the Surfer Skating Art Museum Hall of Fame. So,
Perfect.
Okay, all in favor, aye. Aye.
Aye, Captain.
And then
Okay.
any future agenda items that we want to be thinking about?
Might be when you want to bring up Katie's comment about participation for the
Oh.
historic plaques.
Can
I don't know where
can
you
we
wanna
wait for that
add
to
that.
kind of continue that, or should we?
If that's easier to
Yeah.
figure out the logistics, yeah.
Do you remember where you left off, Katie? You want to talk about the photos?
Yeah, so for, you want me to talk about the historic plaques, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
That
so we wanted to collaborate with you guys so you had an understanding of what that plaque program would look like. And what that could be is me coming, giving you a little presentation about it, here at a meeting for a few minutes, or emailing you guys some information, or meeting in person with a small group of you to go over that. We would just like to have maybe some input from you guys on what you'd like to see, and kind of talk about ways we can promote this so that we get involvement from all of the entities. So that's number one. And number two, the other item was for the murals on Del Mar, we're going to be completing them. So I wanted to collaborate with you guys on something around the installation of the last mural, which I'm hoping is going to take place maybe in the fall. We probably have to abide by maybe some new things for that, if you're changing some policies around. I don't know, we did it back in 2009.
It's kind of grandfathered, I wouldn't
Yeah.
just
I
keep
feel
going.
like 14 have the same
Yes,
grandfather.
just keep going on that.
Yeah, but anyway, so I can share a little bit more about that, and maybe you guys can give us some ideas on ways you want to support it, or things you'd like to see around it. So those are the two things.
Would it be appropriate to invite you to come back to the April meeting, and like if you're ready then, because we only meet 3 times a year.
Sure.
You know, you're welcome to pick, if you feel like by then you want to share like a presentation about the plaques, or
Yeah, so I could kind of educate you on that, what we're doing, and share a little bit about that project, let you know which structures have plaques on them and which ones we're trying to pursue, and some issues around people that might own a commercial building that say, we don't want to put a plaque on our building, then we will be coming to the city saying we want to put a plaque on the sidewalk or on some kind of column near that building. Because we do have, of our 203 designated historic structures in town, we have 22 that are highlighted as city landmarks. And so by the Olympics and the 100-year anniversary, we want to get those 22 completed. So we might need some help if those owners of those properties say, we don't want a plaque on our building.
All of it before you get into discussion, just put it on your agenda, you can talk about it the next time.
Perfect.
Keep all the thoughts in your head.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank
Well,
you.
that's gonna be great. That's exciting.
Yeah,
That's,
it is.
Thanks, everyone.
Does anybody else have future agenda items? I think you're on 7F. So unless you want
Any
ready to
other
adjourn.
future agenda items?
I think the only question that I have is, because I know there's a lot of committees, I guess I may have to just wait on,
Are you interested in joining a committee?
yeah, but I don't know which.
Go for it.
one.
The Amber Theater has a vacancy.
Oh,
Yeah,
the theater, sure.
We don't
that'd
have
be great.
Nick here, so, alright, you know.
Oh,
he's
shoot,
here,
yeah, let's,
so-
Well,
we have to wait
Kathy's-
until April.
Kathy stepped off of that committee,
Yeah,
so,
Oh, she stepped off.
yes.
So they need you.
well, I still feel, well, without Nick here, I think,
Would you rather
yeah.
wait to see
wait,
if
We
wait,
could
wait,
wait, we
yeah.
should wait, absolutely.
Yeah,
So maybe we can put that as a future agenda item,
Yeah.
the subcommittee for Amanda Q.
Should we put something regarding the Olympics on the future agenda, or is that not in our wheelhouse?
Yeah, can we have kind of a like creative, are you just being creative about it?
No, I was wondering if we had any voice in regarding like what that looked like, what the plan for how to embrace the San Clemente cultural heritage, what that looks like for the Olympics, and whether we are invited to discuss that or whether we are just not really in that grouping, or, I mean, that would be something that maybe we can figure out and then decide whether we can add to it or not, or not. I mean, it could be a city council thing where we don't really have a voice in that, or it could be something where they want to know what we have to say, so
Yeah, and strip art and design would be really neat.
where we could put something out there to say, hey, we have some ideas about the Olympics and their, cultural aspects of the Olympics, and, if they're into it, they're into it, if they're over it, they're over it, bingo.
And then also bringing maybe dance as far as hula in the Olympics and, presentations.
Well,
like that.
yeah, I mean, I don't think we have to be too crazy about it. I think it's just there's an opportunity for the cultural kind of significance to be honored in that moment. And we as the Arts and Culture Committee should have like some kind of, or at least provide some direction or some voice or some feeling in regards to that, because that's part of like our committee title or whatever, but I'm sure that that's kind of a very tight group of people who want to make sure that everything's in control. I know there's an Olympic committee that works with like local business people and like a steering group that is actually from the Olympics that have already kind of gathered and have had meetings here in town. We should just have our own little voice.
My suggestion, if we were to do this, would to be combined with a centennial as well, because that's happening at the same year. So it would make sense to have an Olympics and possibly centennial.
Centennial, right.
If we were to go this route.
I'm not sure about that. I think the Olympics is a big enough fish to try to fry on its own. And then the centennial thing is obviously related, our cultural input will be related to that as well, but just at least us giving a voice to say, hey, you know, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to table some really great, you know, voices and hear some great stories that have cultural importance, you know, from our little neck of the woods on a global stage. It's going to be millions and billions of people watching, and it would be really cool to have some kind of offer at least some kind of input or direction. And then if they don't like it, they can tell us to hit the road. But if
As far as like trestles, I mean, you have to realize San Mateo, the Alderman, you know.
that's all I'm saying is
Yeah,
that if you could
absolutely.
just like
Yeah.
say, hey, look, we as a city want to recognize, you know, the first people and and we would like the Olympics to take some of you know, of that. You know, as far as our city goes, we would appreciate it if the Olympic entity could, like, you know, just honor that.
Absolutely.
Honor that voice. And I mean, it's really not that big of a deal, but it's just, I think that, you know, if you look at the Olympics up to this point in surfing, there hasn't been any reflection of any kind of cultural anything in surfing at all. It's like in the Olympic version of surfing, it just popped up out of nowhere and you could just go into a swimming pool and surf anytime you want. But in actual reality, surfing comes from Hawaiian heritage, and it's got a very distinct eminence that it would be really cool and kind of a coup for us to be able to say, hey, we understand that, and we can reflect it in a super positive and authentic light.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, Samantha, what's the process to kind of put on city council's radar that there's interest from Arts and Culture Committee to have a voice in like helping, you know, provide cultural context for this, for surfing?
I would say that's a really good area for the council member liaison, for you to connect with as the chairperson of the committee. You can put something on the agenda. We can certainly provide something, a space for you guys to talk about it.
Yeah.
At the next meeting. I have some knowledge of what's going on. I don't know, there's not a lot that's come out of LA 28 itself, and that's the city has to take direction from LA 28.
Right.
So there could be a working citizens committee.
We
The
just
city's not involved in that right now.
Yeah, that's kind of like I was
Yeah.
talking to Roman from the.
Right.
And he had a meeting there, and then I spoke to him about it.
So I think it's fair to put on your agenda for the next meeting, and that way you can have a bigger discussion without getting into too many details.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you recommend before then that I chat with Councilman Wu? Or when, you know, or first, like, let there be a little bit more time to think about, you know, what are the...
You mean, you're welcome to connect with them anytime.
And I did want to add that I did talk to the city manager, Andy Hall, regarding the hula aspect as far as the Hawaiian, to honor that culture. I do belong to the Halau Hula Lani Ola, and so that was one of the things that I did discuss with them. That would be really wonderful. Also, honoring the first people. I think that's really imperative. Absolutely.
All we gotta do is ask. So if somebody
Absolutely.
I mean, if they say, you know what, we don't want to know about it. It's already a big balagan, and we're just doing our best to just stay
I
alive.
think asking, but I also could imagine then having like who the Pawnee coordinators are, like who coordinates the Polynesian Dance Festival of Southern California, you know, helping them find, or like, you know, that might be helpful too, to have some
I
actual.
want to encourage you guys to stop talking about this now. Sorry.
Yes,
It's happening now.
absolutely.
Sorry.
That's
Put it on the agenda, keep your thoughts for then.
Keep the thoughts in your head. Keep the thoughts in- Order.
Okay, I've never done that in my life, but I was very excited.
That was it. This has been a great night.
I would like to suggest that we adjourn the meeting. It is 6:02,
Here.
and
Make a motion.
can I get a first? We're gonna have to have a first and a second?
Second.
All right.
Third.
From
Motion to
everybody.
adjourn. All in favor?
Shannon.
Motion to adjourn the meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes. Wonderful.
Thank you, Samantha.
Good.
Well, actually, because we
Thanks,
started
Samantha.
at 5:04,
Yes.
we ended